What's a good ad? What's a bad ad? What's a good creative versus a bad creative? I'll tell you, I have tested thousands and thousands and thousands of creatives, and this is one of the questions I get from people all the time. Like, shouldn't I just be using influencer stuff? Or what about UGC? I mean, these product images are fantastic. What about this thing? And the honest truth is, there's a lot of different options, and there's a lot of bad information out there. So, as somebody that has tested tens of thousands of ads and spent millions and millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars, let me tell you what I know about good and bad creatives. Okay, so first thing, thank you so much for being here this far. We're going to get into this real quick. And if you enjoy what you're seeing here or anything else, please do not be ashamed or shy. You can go ahead and subscribe. And if you enjoyed this and you have any questions, please feel free to comment below. If you're seeing this somewhere else, reply, DM me. I respond to just about every single comment and just about every single DM that I possibly can as soon as possible. I'm online a lot. There's some funny thing called the information superhighway, and I happen to just be a fan. Anyway, what I'd like to do today is really dive into good and bad creatives. And this was a question that came from a member of the Facebook Disruptor School. By the way, if you want in on Facebook Disruptor School, go into facebookdisruptor.com, hit the Patreon button right at the top, and it'll bring you to the Patreon. You can join the Patreon, which is just the archive in the library, or you can join the Facebook Disruptor School. At the school, you get the access to the library and the video archive with over 100 hours of video. You also get dozens and dozens and dozens of articles, and it's regularly updated several times a week. In addition to that, you also get group classes, and there's a 24-hour Slack, plus a private community of other students, and you can join or you can leave anytime you want. And it's on a monthly price. So trying to make that as good as possible for individuals. Plus, you can also join up for, you can buy some ebooks on the site if you want to. You can get into some course if you want to. Or you can just join the Disruptor Dispatch and have me in your inbox several times a week, giving you the latest news, great things to think about, thought starters, interviews, articles, and a bunch of other stuff to help push forward your success in this business. Now, let's get to the bottom line. Good creative versus bad creative. And we're going to cover this in 3 parts. Number 1, well, what is a good and a bad creative? Well, getting down to the bottom line, Facebook is built around the concept, and Facebook, including Instagram, is built around the concept of keeping people on the platform for as long as possible in a way that they feel good. The average person swipes the height of the Eiffel Tower on a daily basis. Your job is to basically make sure that they continue to swipe one more time after getting something that they feel really good about, and then maybe turning that attention into money. So what's a good creative? A good creative is something that gets their attention. And not only gets their attention, but is something that leaves them feeling good afterwards. A good creative is basically defined by its ability to leave somebody with a positive interaction on the platform in a way that keeps them on Facebook or Instagram longer. Now, what's a bad creative? A bad creative is basically something that does the exact opposite. Now, that's from Facebook's perspective. So let's get to point number 2 of good creative versus bad creative. Good creative ultimately drives business objectives, and bad creatives ultimately don't. Now, bad creatives, well, we see really fun, engaging content turn into be bad creatives, and this can absolutely have an impact on your ad account. Now, maybe it's just because it looks bad, nobody wants to click on it, but I mean, honestly, I've seen some terrible things. There's stuff where it's done sideways, and one of the biggest fun hacks is just misspelling things because people want to correct you in the comment section, and all of a sudden you're blowing up the internet because you got a million people looking at your ads to correct your spelling, but also getting a ton of cheap and free clicks. Now, on top of that, what we want to get into when it comes to bad creative is maybe there's something that's really engaging, but the people that click on it have no interest in actually buying. Maybe you made clickbait. Now, clickbait can get you a lot of attention. It might have dramatically low CPMs and really low CPCs and a really high CTR. But if nobody's buying, who gives a shit? Remember, CPMs, CTR, CPC, this is garbage metric. Anyway, things that you do not want to be paying attention to. My point here is what I really want to get down to today is how do you make good versus bad creative? And how do you know? Well, I'm going to tell you something to point number 3. You basically won't know. The honest truth is, I've seen some of the worst looking ads in the world make a ton of money. And I've seen some of the best looking stuff make nothing. I was spending $30,000 to $50,000 a day on a poorly constructed GIF by somebody that was 2 or 3 projects out of high school, and we were printing money with it. I've also paid 6 figures to get creative made in a way where I barely made 50 cents on the dollar back. Now, obviously, these are wildly variant levels of scale, but the point is, really high production value does not equal really high quality profit. On the other hand, there are really cheap ways of acquiring creative. You see a lot of people going to micro influencers, and if you want to know people that are really good at that, DM me. Believe me, I've got an archive full of influencer type folk. Not the influencers themselves. The person can get you a contract with 100 of them. Those are the types of people you want to have in your back pocket. Yes, I do know some influencers, but that's off the point. But you also see UGC. People love UGC and testimonials. You know what? You're right. People do. But why is UGC good? Why is influencer stuff good? Why do testimonials work for your business? Well, far more often than not, it's because not only does somebody actually want to sit there and watch it, or to read it, or to engage with whatever you've posted, but they also want to read the comments. They're also reading the copy. They're also clicking to your website in a way that is getting them to be interested in taking the action that you want. And that's really the biggest deal. So what makes a creative good or bad has far more to do with the type of behavior that creative, what it inspires. And again, you can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on some of the most impressive looking ads and sell nothing. And I've seen people take the worst damn product shots ever and misspell stuff and crush. The point is, it's all about in the delivery, and it's all about how you make somebody feel. And it's all really about the words that you're using and the customer journey. If your customer journey is shit and your words are bad, even the greatest video in the world ain't gonna make a sale. And if you have amazing copy and a fantastic customer journey, even the worst picture in the world is going to make you a lot of money. So my point is, creative is a piece of the puzzle, but it is not the whole thing. And what you can evaluate good versus bad is not on CPC. It's not on click-through rate. It's not on CPM or any of these other garbage metrics. If you missed that link, go back to 4 minutes and 53 seconds into this video and click it. I highly recommend you take a look at it. What really matters is, what does somebody do after they've heard your sales pitch? And if you can figure out a way to replicate success, you're going to be doing very well for yourself. Anyway, if you enjoyed that, YouTube says you might like these things. And don't forget to subscribe. And with that, I'll just say, hi, I'm Charlie. I'll see you on the internet.